The Internal Remo Masterclass on how to event host on camera, and we're going to break it down into a couple pieces. But first of all, if you guys can hear me, if everything's going okay, can you just hit one of the emojis for me, either a thumbs up or a hand clap? Thank you so much for letting me know that everything's coming in okay. I want to thank you so much for either getting up early, staying up late, wherever you are in the world, to join me this morning for this masterclass. Today, it's going to be talking through some best practices, some tips, and some hints. And we're also going to be doing some audience interaction just to kind of, see if what you're learning today, if you can implement it, and just we're going to have some fun. And yes, I do have a co-host today. This is Luna. She has decided to join me on the back of my chair. So the first thing is that I have a movable chair and I hit the lock button because otherwise I'd be flying backwards. So that goes into one of my first tips. It's how to look good on camera. And there's a few tips and tricks that we can use for looking good on camera. And the most important one is camera placement and your eye line to it. So when we're having a virtual conversation, and if you look at some success labs, I am really guilty of this. When we're having a virtual conversation, when we're hosting a virtual event, I am not talking to the person who's in the box next to me. I'm not having necessarily a conversation with them. I am having a conversation with you. So my eye line is going to be directly into my camera because I want to engage you and my audience. And a lot of things I'm going to be talking about in this portion come from broadcasting. So in my past life, I have a master's in theater, in acting. My undergraduate is in theater and communications, and a lot of that is around broadcast communication. So if you look at television presenters, their eye line is directly to that camera. They'll have a teleprompter. There's a reason the teleprompter fits over the camera lens, is because they want to have a direct conversation with the person who is on the other end of that camera. It helps you feel connected. It helps you feel that you are part of you, that you're being talked to. So that's why the eye line is really, really important. And some things that we see that people do with their eye line is, first, they have this kind of an eye line where they are like way, way down and there's so much headroom because the camera's pointed up. Or you kind of get this kind of look because somebody is working with their setup and it's either camera's too high or the camera's too low, and this is not a very flattering look. Being shot from up underneath your chin is not a really flattering look. The other things that I see sometimes are people have their system set up so they are, again, like I said, they are really down far low, and their workspace has this kind of going on because they have their chair is sat low. When I worked with the Marines, I have no idea how they did this, but like a lot of them would be like almost under their desks and trying to work like this. I have no idea how that was comfortable. The third way that the eye lines I generally see are that your systems are set up, or that the presenter system is set up where the camera is off from where they need to be. So you're having a whole conversation this way. So if I'm not facing the camera, if I'm not looking at you and you're relaying really important information to me, does this look like I'm interested? Even though I may be taking notes, it doesn't really look like I'm engaged or interested in the conversation because of my eye line. So the first lesson is that eye line and eye contact is just as important when you are presenting on camera as it is when you are talking to somebody in real life. Now, there are times where you're in a meeting and you have to take notes, and that's when you just simply say, excuse me for 1 second, I'm absolutely listening, I just want to take a couple notes on this. So you can let them know that your eye line is going to break with them for a minute. But for the most part, making sure that you keep yourself nicely framed in the box. Barry had asked, what if you had 3 heads? You keep all 3 heads framed nicely in the box. And this way you have not too much headroom, not too much bottom room. And you are able to really just focus. If you look at some of my success labs, I do have a bad habit of looking at the person who is talking because that's really natural. And I've watched some of these old videos to try to prep, and I'm like, I have to get a lot better with that. The second way of looking good on camera is making sure that your lighting is sufficient. The thing that I always ask people to do is set up your space in front of a natural lighting source, like a window that lets in a lot of sunlight. That isn't possible for everyone everywhere. And even me being in beautiful, sunny San Diego, California, where it is sunny about 300 days of the year, today is not one of them. And when I taught this class last night, it was not one of them. Sorry, my phone just went off. I thought I had it on silent. Even though I'm in sunny San Diego, today it's overcast and gloomy, and I just have this light, and it's positioned behind me, and it's hitting my hair, and it's giving me like a good highlight on my hair. I have some lights over top of me on, but as you can see, you know, it's not the greatest look. But if I do this, oh, sorry, 1 second, I'll be right back. My daughter unplugged my light. So she needed the electrical outlet this morning to get ready for school. But you can see the difference when I have a light that's in front of me, how it separates me from the background and how it makes my face just pop off the screen even just a little bit more. This light that I have is a softbox, and I'll show you which one I have here in 1 second. But I can control, this is 20%, 50%, 100%, and this is warm. Then we have a colder. So it also works with your camera to see what you're picking up. So I'm going to go back to my warm. I'm going to go back to 50%. And as my camera adjusts, now you can see the difference that I have this light here. And my persona, my face, my headshot, it's popping out from my background as opposed to this. So can you guys see the difference? Even when my camera adjusts, only being lit from the side, only using just my harsh light inside the house versus the difference of when I put my box on. And this is the one that I use. It's called, it's super cheap too. It is called the Mount Dog Soft Light Lighting Box. So this is what it looks like. It comes with the flag. So it comes with the flag, the box, the LED light, and then it has the remote control that you can set. So it can make you look, if you look at this, so there's a cool, there's a warm, and a mid-tone. So you can really adjust it to your days. So on days that I even have a lot of sun coming in, I'm also going to use my soft light box to be able to supplement some of that, just to ensure that I do have quality lighting. A lot of people will use a ring light. So this is adjustable. It's on a stand. So the head can move and the stand can move up and down and adjust. Some people use ring lights, and I prefer ring lights. So the ring lights are the circular ones, either small or larger. I prefer the ring lights when you're using a mobile phone or a tablet, because they are meant to sit right in the middle of the ring light and the light is captured around them. That's challenging to do whenever you're using a laptop, and especially if you are seated in at a desk, or some folks like to stand up when they present. The one thing that I recommend when you're standing up, when you're presenting, is taking a cue from politicians. So the one thing that you do with the politicians is that your politicians are going to generally have a lectern or something that they're standing at, and it's going to ground them. They will have, reading off the teleprompter, they'll generally have one hand free, but if you notice, a lot of times they will have a second hand that is anchoring them to the lectern. And that kind of helps them control their body movements, because even though they're speaking to a live audience in front of them, they also know that they're speaking to the camera. And this is another technique from acting for the camera and for broadcasting. Every little movement that you make gets picked up and amplified by the camera, more so than if you were an in-person audience. So a slight head nod, a slight eye roll, these are projected so much more magnified than if you were in an in-person, say for a theater, because the closest person to you is still feet and feet away. So you have to be bigger. You have to be more grandiose on stage. When you're in a personal personal conversation one-on-one, there is one other different dynamic. When you are in person, about 85 to 90% of what we communicate is done through body language. It is nonverbal. That is an aspect that you can lose in the virtual arena, is that you lose the sense of the full body unless somebody's in a full wide shot, which in these situations for virtual events and for like one-on-one client meetings or for product demos, you're not. You're pretty much in what we call a headshot shot. So you lose a lot of the nonverbals. I have a bad habit. Can anyone tell me what my bad habit is? I really, really try to fight it, and I try to keep them down low, but does anyone see like, yeah, I move my hands. I talk with my hands. I am a hand talker. So if I sat, I always joke, like if I had my hands tied behind my back, I'm not 100% sure that I would be able to carry on a conversation. But you can see even just some of these little movements that I make with my hands, it's distracting. It's taking you away from what I'm saying with my words because you're paying attention to what I'm doing with my hands. So sometimes I'll make an emphasis with my hands. So that goes into the body language. And the third thing about presenting effectively on the virtual plane. So the first we have is what we need to do to look good. The second is how we keep the eye contact and how we make up for the lack of body language. The third thing is how we are able to effectively meter our tone of voice and our expressions and our pausing to be able to let certain key ideas land and become anticipatory for what we're going to say next. What a lot of folks do, especially if they're not comfortable speaking in public, if they're not comfortable being in front of a camera, is that they really try to fill up all the empty space with filler words like, yeah, so, okay, so while they're thinking things through in their head, they're still wanting to have something happening out in space so that there is no dead air, that there's no pause in the conversation. So what happens sometimes is that they'll just go like this, and then things are just kind of a little bit rushed because I really don't know. Okay, something maybe like a question got to me, and I'm trying to like really think through the answer and be purposeful. But instead, that was a really great question. Okay. Yes. So this is how I would handle that situation. So do you see the difference between when I'm really just trying to fill the space because I'm uncomfortable with the silence versus when I'm trying to harness it? Do you guys see the difference between the two? That's another way that you're going to be very effective in your presentations, is that one, speaking from a tone of confidence that's not rushed, where you're not necessarily afraid of pausing. That is really, really, really a huge, huge tip that separates people, especially if you want to get into like emceeing or hosting. Now, does anybody have questions about the how to look good and some of the basics of presenting on camera? Do any of you guys have any questions about that? No? Does everything make sense to you? Thumbs up if it makes sense. Barry, Taz. Okay, things are making sense. Good. So next, moving on to how do you keep the habit of looking into the camera? It's hard, Noemi. Like I really right now, there are times where I do need to look down. I need to look over to the chat just to see how things are. I need to look down onto the bottom just to see these thumbs up. But what I really try to do when I need to do that, the same thing is if I need to refer to my notes, and this is going to kind of overlap into my next section. If I have notes and I need to look at them. So if I look down at the chat, or if I look down, okay, you guys, can you give me a thumbs up? Oh, great. Awesome. Okay, Barry, thanks for that thumbs up. That's really great. If you notice what I'm doing, I'm taking a minute and I'm looking where I need to go. So in acting, when we're trying to learn our lines or whenever we are doing something called a cold audition. So a cold audition is basically, here's the script that you have to do. You have 2 minutes to look it over and you're going into your audition. You have no prep time. So what we do is that we chunk the information. So I will look down get the next chunk of information that I need, and then I can bring it back up and make that eye contact while I'm talking. You know, I mean, it is really, really, really hard. And I want to fight like different natural instincts. But I really, again, if I have that camera directly in my eye line, it's a lot easier for me to do it. Excuse me. Normally, I have my camera set like this. So it is like you see my head's off a little bit and I'm looking down at my camera. What I've done is I have like makeshift underneath my computer. I have some books and I have them leveled out so that way I can get my computer up a little bit higher. I think I just made it off a little bit. So Barry, you said that you have a question. When I try to look into the camera when I'm talking, but someone is talking back, I tend to look at them and not the camera. I do that as well because you want to maintain eye contact with the individual. It's natural. And you also want to look at them for their body language cues. And so what I do is to be able to do that, I can look at my camera, but I can still see them. So with my peripheral vision, I can set myself back a little bit more. And again, this is for like these tips I'm giving you are for more of like formal sessions. If you're doing like a large group, and this is more highlighted in the presentation mode than it is necessarily in conversation mode. In conversation mode, our tile boxes are so small and we're lined up differently that you can get away with it a little bit different than if you're in presentation mode and you're talking to a wider audience. You want to make that personal connection. Because just watch here for a second. Tell me if you guys feel a difference in how I'm connected with you if I am presenting like this versus if I'm connecting with you and I'm presenting like this. So I'm looking at the chat, I'm talking to you guys. I really want to answer these questions that you have, but do you feel a different connection because I am not looking down and I'm not looking at you? I am just presenting down and off to the side. Can you give me a thumbs up if you see the difference? Whereas if I'm doing this exact same thing here, Tasneem gave away one of my secrets as well. So Noemi was asking, how do you keep the habit of looking into the camera? If you have to refer to notes, I put sticky notes lined along the outskirts of my monitor. So right now I'm just on a laptop. I don't have my web camera is built into my laptop, and here is my text box is like you can see with my fingers. So I can have sticky notes right here. So this is my fingers. I just moved a hair and I have sticky notes. So if you can put sticky notes along the top bar and down the sidebar. So you can just get a chunk and come back, get a chunk and come back, get a chunk and come back. And that way you don't necessarily have to keep looking down. And if worse comes to worse, if you have sticky notes, you can move them. So you can pull one off and move another one up, and people really they're not the wiser. This leads into my next tip for how to host or MC something effectively. If you look at a lot of the events that I host, the masterclasses that I host, the top of funnel events that I host, I have met with my co-presenters at least a week and a half to 2 weeks prior. I have a little mini interview with them. I say, okay, this is the umbrella topic that we have. So for example, we want to talk to colleges about how to engage their alumni. That is a huge, huge, huge umbrella topic. And then I meet with the person who I'm presenting with to find out where is their expertise, where is their niche. And I take almost like a reporter, I take notes. And out of that discussion is where I'm able to find the nuggets. And then I refer back to them during my, so, Jessica, the last time that I talked to you, you had said something that was absolutely mind-blowing to me. You talked about wealth or treasure. So let's talk about that for a second. Wealth or treasure. So I have these pre-conversations that I can then set up the person that I'm talking to for success, and I can guide the discussion. So the discussion sounds like my hands are all over the place. Like, sorry guys. I am not practicing when I'm preaching. So I have my entire presentation already thought up in my head, but it's still at a point of improvisation that if somebody makes a good point. So like Noemi just says, and then practice 10,000 times. Exactly. And then I can come back to, okay, so how does like what that question was, how does that interweave into what we were just talking about? And I'm able to make the conversation flow. So this is a tip, again, if you have a co-presenter or a co-host with you, about, really actively doing research beforehand, taking a couple good notes, letting them know, okay, this, we're going to go from this bullet point, this bullet point, this bullet point, because I know in the amount of time that we have, I'm only going to be able to talk for 3 topics. I know what was important that I would like them to say, and I will prompt them to say it while I am emceeing or while I am facilitating the discussion. These are the things that I want them to say, and without me saying it for them, I will phrase a question or I will phrase something to help jog their memory that this is what we're going to talk about next, and they'll be like, "Oh yeah, sure, I would love to talk about that." And then what we had talked about in our prep sessions, they will then be able to impart there. And the prep sessions are really important because there are things that we are not ever going to bring up inside the live session that we don't have time for, but that facilitation of that guided discussion really does mix about 75% of already ready, prompted, bulleted out, and 25% improvisation. And that's, again, how you keep that audience interaction of all like, oh, Bahar, that's a really great point. She says that I also think that people are aware when we're looking at ourselves or at them on the computer. And so I have anxiety of them thinking I'm watching myself. That is a very legitimate point. It's very valid. I have so many people, especially who use Zoom a lot, and they even say it's a huge joke. It's a meme of like, I know there's other people on the call, but I just look at myself. But that also transitions me into another mindset trick of, do you call it a call or do you call it an event? So a call is a lot less formal. A lot of people look at Zoom as a call. We're just on a call. When you're meeting in a little bit more informal manner, even if it is like a higher powered person that you're trying to sell, that's more of a call. It can be a little bit less formal. But if it is an event, if it is a virtual event, if it is something like this is a virtual class. It's a little bit more formal. So I want to then be able to put some of these things into place, because that's the difference between I'm looking at myself and I'm engaging my audience. So audience engagement is really key and tied with, again, it doesn't seem like, okay, so what does it matter where my video camera is and where I'm in relation to it? But it does. It's these little things that really make the difference between you engaging with your audience and you connecting with your audience, and then them, not really feeling that you're confident. So Taz, can you come up here and we can do what we did last night, the demonstration of the difference between where I'm talking about of that connection versus where someone is going to be like, I don't know. So, okay, so Taz and I are going to do a demonstration. For everyone who doesn't know, this is my left hip, Tasneem, and together we are the Revo power duo of Catneem. Hello, Tasneem.
Hi, everyone. Please excuse my background. Clearly, I have not been paying attention.
We have risen Tasneem from her slumber, and I just wanted to do this really quickly, just because Tasneem would just have to jump. And like I said, we have a town hall here in a little bit, so I am going to end early so that people can get coffee and go to that town hall. But Taz, can you help me demonstrate what we were talking about? Look at me, I'm looking at Tasneem right now. Can you guys tell the difference? Like, I'm looking to, and I'm talking to Tasneem right now. I am not looking here. But what I can do is I can look here, and out of the peripheral vision, I can see that Tasneem is engaged. I can see her body language, but it's my nature. I want to look at her eyes, which is not technically me looking at her eyes. Me doing this is looking at her eyes. So, Taz, can you do just the mock introduction to an event that we want to do? And I want you guys to notice the difference. See how many different things that you can pick out between the two of us of what we do. and see how that makes a difference in how you as an audience member want to engage with the content.
Welcome everybody to the masterclass on streaming. It's going to be a fantastic event and we're going to have a lot of fun, and I just want to welcome everybody. Drop a message in the general chat about how excited you are, where you're coming from. And yeah, let's get started with the masterclass. Yay!
Hey everybody, welcome to our masterclass today. We are so excited to have you here. Our masterclass is going to teach you some of the secrets, tips, and techniques for streaming. I hope that you are so excited. If you are, please put a message right inside that chat and we will get started here in just 1 second. If you are excited, down at the bottom right-hand corner of that screen, hit that clap emoji, and so we know that you are ready to start. Yay! Okay, so what are some of the different things that we did? Barry, I think Barry picked up on some of it, is energy, right? So did you see the energy was a little bit different? And you can have the energy to set the tone, and you don't have to be like super, if it's a serious topic, if you are like, if you're working with a CEO or if you're working with somebody who has to do like some business specific things, you can find a nice balance between the energy level that she and I made. But did you see also the difference between maintaining eye contact and, hey guys, we're going to have a masterclass today on streaming, and it's going to be really great. So do you see the level of the audacity? It's just the level of confidence that I'm exuding versus the level of confidence. So it's these things that you can't necessarily put your hand on or your fingers on to understand, like, okay, there's something about that. I don't know exactly what, but I don't want to do this thing now. Versus, holy crap, okay, I'm excited for this. And part of it comes from, if I'm looking away, I give away my power and my confidence. If I'm looking at, yeah, in fairness, it is very late for testing.
Thank you, Barry. Thank you.
If I'm looking away, I'm giving away my power and my confidence. And remember what I said at the beginning, pausing for effect is very important. Pausing for effect can be the difference between making something known that this is really important and I need you to pay attention to it, versus, hey guys, yeah, so we're going to have a masterclass and it's going to be streaming. I said the exact same words. I even had a little bit of energy, but do I sound like a subject matter expert? Do I feel to you like a subject matter expert on that second example? Is anybody, yes, no? Can you guys see, if you guys can feel the difference? Tasneem, definitely. Okay, so these are just a couple of the things that we don't inherently think about. We don't necessarily always realize that we're doing, but you can see it can have a very, very big impact on whether you are connecting with your audience, whether you are exuding the confidence to be able to command the stage. Thank you, Tessie. To command the stage and to command with a presence, versus coming across to somebody who is viewing you as maybe they don't know exactly what they're talking about, or, if they don't want to be here, why do I want to be here? And especially if it's a replay situation, there are, so many YouTube videos out there of people who want to do self-help things, who want to, even here, we record a lot of our videos, a lot of our master classes, so that people can watch them later, because either they're newer to Remo or they didn't have that use case back. Why are they going to watch an hour-long video recording? Because if they're here, there's at least some excitement about interacting and chatting. But watching a recording, 4 months from now, getting 3 minutes into it with like Eeyore going, "Hey guys, so this is a masterclass. We are really excited for you to be here." After about 3 minutes of that, I'm like, okay, let me skip. Let me just read the transcript. Let me figure out. So, with that being said, we have just a little bit more time. I would love for anybody that wants to come up here to do just a mock introduction, like you're doing an introduction to a remote demo, or you're doing an introduction to this master class, just so you can practice and get the hang of these things that I talked about. Because if you can implement them right after I'm talking about them, then they can stick a little bit more. Can anybody just want to raise their hand and come on up, please? Noemi, you can come up because, and Bahar, you both have manager access to this. Yeah, come on, Tasneem got it up here.
You call me.
All right,
I
Noemi.
have to know. All right. So what do you want me to do? Sorry.
So what we're going to do is just say your name, give the title of the class that you're teaching or the demo that you're leading, and just do a welcome. Like get everybody in here super engaged and energized, and let us know that we want to be here, that you want to be here, and that you are an expert on what you're talking about.
All right. Let me just like set myself up because I have no. Wait.
No, you're fine. Hey, I had to run and plug in my lights. So we're embracing the improv. Things can and always do go wrong in person events, and also in virtuals.
I was
So.
literally like sat on my sofa, so I thought wasn't the best. Okay. I haven't done a demo in a while as well, so like I'm nervous now,
And if you guys notice, she had like a really nice like window. Those are the kind of natural light sources. So you have like a nice window, and she does have some light coming down here, but there is a light source. Is there a window or something in front of you?
There is now as well, yeah.
Yeah, so you can see that there is a little bit. Barry says the volume is really clear too. Okay, so I will let you take it away.
All right. Well, hi guys, and welcome to the masterclass on presenting on camera. So I'm Noemi, and I'm very excited to have you guys today. So if you're excited as well, then yeah, just give me a little clap in the emojis on the bottom right corner. I sound like
what are we going to be talking about, Noemi?
So we're talking about, so we're having a masterclass today on presenting on camera and on how to look and sound good, actually.
All right. Did you guys believe her? Does she sound like she's going to be able to give us a good class, that she knows just from that even brief introduction? You guys can type in the chat. Barry says I would go to that class.
No, that's it. I won. I can go now.
Yeah. And just a couple of other things. There are a few cheats that you can do, especially like I have a habit, like in real life when I'm not doing this, of I need to think through what I'm saying, but I think through here. So when I'm presenting, I really have to get into a different mindset of, okay, I'm thinking through it, but I want to have this sense of a smile.
Mm-hmm.
So whether I actually have a smile on my face because I'm really excited and I'm leaning a little bit into the camera to get that energy, if it's something a little bit more serious, I still have a sense of a smile on the inside. Mm-hmm. And this is really, really important for anybody in customer service, especially sales. One thing that you're taught, especially if it's over the phone, talk through a smile. Because if you're talking through a smile, it's really, really hard to sound defeated, down, grumpy. Whereas if I'm not talking through a smile, and I'm now kind of like slipping into mom mode, I kind of sound like I'm chastising or I'm bored. But if I'm talking through the smile, like, you see the difference between like this is my not talking through a smile versus I'm talking through a smile. So I'm having this energy come up and out this way. So whether my camera is on or not, I have this extra sense of, okay, that's a really important question, and I really thank you for that question. Here's the answer. And I'm going to have to give you something that's really, really serious. But can you see, like, I can feel like on the inside, I'm still like I have Botox, so guys, that's my secret. Like I'm trying to lift my eyebrows as much as they're gonna go to keep like that energy in my eyes. But I have like this internal smile kind of energy, so that
Mhm.
way I'm fighting against tired. I'm fighting against stressed. I'm fighting against you know, every once in a while a question may come in that's going to like throw you for a second and you're like, I really don't know. But I'm not coming across ingenuine. So there is a way that I can still connect and that I can still make sure that I am listening and I'm intent without going into some of those more like negative space feelings. Can you guys see that? And no, I mean, you did that really well. You had that like bright up energy. But if there's times that you guys are feeling, you're end of the day and like all of a sudden a curveball comes in, or it's really early in the morning and somebody's calling you in for a consult or something, this is a great way to fight through that. Okay. Oh my God. Camera on. Hi guys, how are you doing? All right. No, this is great. Like there's days where I need like 6 or 7 more coffees to be able to do this. And by the end of my hour-long class, I'm just back into the whole like, but I'm not gonna let the folks who are on the other side of that camera. I'm gonna try my hardest not to let them know that. So those are a couple tips. So thank you, Noemi. Thank you so much for doing that. Does anybody else want to come up and try their hand at doing a just a brief introduction? I'd love to see everybody's styles. Barry. Thanks, Tasneem. Thank you so much for being here, Taz. Ernie, Noemi's calling you out. I'm going to give Ernie permissions to come on up.
Hello. So,
Hi, Ernie.
hello. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Masterclass, right? So, hi, this is Ernie, and today I'm gonna be hosting a masterclass on event hosting, virtually. So, is everybody excited? I am. So, let's go ahead and get started. If everybody's excited, please give me a little emoji. You will see that at the bottom of your screen. If everyone is excited as I am. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get started.
All right, Ernie, we're going to try that one more time. What I want you to do, because you are my people, because
Yeah.
you are with the
Yeah,
hands.
yeah, yeah,
What
yeah.
I want you to do
Yeah,
is
that's me.
position yourself in your chair.
Yeah.
Keep your back as straight as possible. If you have a desk in front of you, put one hand on the desk, and I want you to lean into your camera just a little bit.
Okay.
And then, have you guys all heard about like the Terror Banks, like the smize, the smiling with your eyes?
Mm,
I want you to feel like you have just this like gigantic bolt of energy starting here and coming up and out. So I don't mean like fat. I don't want you to talk faster. I don't want you
yeah.
to pause more dramatically. I just want to see if you feel a difference between anchoring yourself a little bit, lifting your chest up, keeping your back straight, and leaning a little bit more forward into your camera. Talk to me through that camera and just let me know who you are, what we're doing, and that you really are excited to be here.
Okay. Sure. Hi, everyone. My name is Ernie, and I will be presenting today internal masterclass on event hosting online. So, if everybody's excited, give me a little emoji there. You will find that at the bottom of the screen. All right.
Okay.
So, if yeah, good.
And then here's another tip. I love the fact that you did that. So here's another tip that if you're leading something or if you're leading a group,
Mm,
another way to make people feel really connected is that you saw Barry, you saw me, you saw Noemi.
okay,
We
I
did the
gotcha.
emojis. So you can say, all right, I see that Katrina's excited. Barry, you're right
Yeah.
there. You're
Oh,
excited
yeah.
with me. All right, guys. Thank you for giving me that energy.
All right.
Because, and this is what makes us so much more effective than Zoom, because Zoom will have maybe two people's things on and a whole slew of just blank boxes with people's names. Here
Right.
you have that instant notice that somebody is connecting with what you are saying, seize on that and connect right back with them. And that's why I love audience view, is that, hey guys, does this make sense? If it makes sense, somebody give me a emoji reaction. Yeah, Barry. Oh my God. Yeah, Barry gave me the thumbs up. Okay, thank you for that, Barry. The other thing that I love doing about it is, okay, so Barry just kind of gave me that question mark. So maybe, Barry, do I need to clarify that again? So, okay, yeah, I do. Okay, let me try to say this a different way. Does that make sense? So that way I am really engaging with the folks.
Yeah.
The other thing that I love doing is, all right, if this is your first time in remote, this is your first time in Success Labs, do me a favor, right down below is a raised hand feature. Go ahead and hit that raised hand for me. And as soon as they hit that raised hand, so Barry, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time to come to our class. And if you have any questions with Remo afterwards, I will be happy to talk to you about that. Using these first couple minutes, you lose your audience within 90 seconds. You either gain them or lose them. And one of the easiest ways to gain them is to call them out, make sure that they know that they are being seen and appreciated. That is the only thing that I have to say as like, awesome, Ernie. I love your
Thank
smile.
you.
You have the best smile. When you smile, it really just pops right off the screen. So that is 100% an asset for you. That is a
Thank you.
huge, huge, huge asset. The only thing that I would recommend is either getting your seat up just a hair higher
Yeah.
or
Okay.
your webcam just a hair lower.
Okay.
Because right now your eye line is set straight up for me in my box. There we go. And that's better. So even if
Okay.
you look right now, even if you're not looking at your camera,
Mhm.
I can see that you're looking at me with where you have this set. So right now for
Okay.
presentation mode, your eye line is set perfectly.
Okay.
Yeah.
See that.
So
Okay.
Barry also called out another trick that I do is in the very, very beginning, I will say, hey, everybody, over in the chat box, where are you from? Where are you coming in from today? Oh, Barry, I see we have somebody from Ireland. Oh, Noemi, we have somebody from Bahar. Bahar's in Turkey. Do you guys see like the amazingness about how this brings everyone together globally? Especially if you guys are doing demos, that is a
Yeah.
huge, huge trick that I use because number one, I have just taught people how to use the chat. I have just taught people how to use the emojis. I have just taught people how to use the hands up feature, and they have no idea that I just taught them how to use Remo. I have demonstrated 3 features that separate us from Zoom, that separate us from Hopin, that separate us from any competitor. And I've really got them excited about, oh my God, this is pretty cool. Oh, this is okay, I can do that. Instead of trying to send out, 5 minutes worth
Information.
of this is presentation mode. And when you get into our event, this is what you can expect. Some things it's really good for people to experience. And so these are my secrets on how I put vegetables into the cake. So Jessica Seinfeld a few years ago had a cookbook about how to sneak vegetables and other healthy things into foods that your kids are going to eat. This is how I sneak Remo education into every single event that I do, whether it is for people who have no familiarity with Remo whatsoever, or if they have been using Remo forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. I sneak things in. If I start my Q&A, I will subtly start a timer. And that way, number one, it's a reminder for me, but it's also, I just demonstrated in an event that, okay, guys, we only have 9 minutes left before I have to let you go. As soon as this timer gets down, oh, shoot, I just ran over my timer. Okay, one. So I'll set it short purposely. Like, okay, guys, like our timer's up. But you know what? There's one really, really good question that I just want to get to. We'll get to this really quickly. So I know that I've built in enough time to get to those questions, but because I'm making a big deal about like, okay, yeah, we're almost done, but this is a really important question. I want to pull this in. It may mother of Remo, it still makes your guests feel seen, heard, and respected and engaged. So again, you don't have to be super, super energetic because some of your topics get kind of serious.
Cheers.
And some of the time, you don't want people to be made to feel as if they're being sold to.
Okay.
Katrina, what do you do if your nose itches during a presentation? I'll sit there. I'll scratch it. I'll try not to, but like every once in a while, we're human. And this is the great thing is that things can and do go wrong in person. They can go wrong in virtual. You are, it happens every time. It's like my nose knows exactly. And that is sometimes a manifestation of stage fright, to be honest, is that our bodies start to exhibit certain physical manifestations of stress. So what you can always do, Nomi, before it's time to start, this is the best tip that anyone can give you for public speaking, in person or not. 2 deep breaths in through your nose, count of 4 out through your mouth. 5. You do that 2 or 3 times, and it brings you back to a center, and then you can go.
Okay.
Because a lot of people get here, and they're so worried about the here that this all just starts to like, and you can start to see it physically. So, does anybody? Thank you, Ernie, so much for that.
Sure.
Does
Thank
anybody
you.
have any last questions? We're getting close to time. But like I said, I want to make sure we have a town hall here coming up in a couple minutes. My voice goes when I speak a lot. Any tips on soothing that? Number one, I don't know if you have it there, but there is a product called Ricola. Ricola, the original version, it comes in a square. We called those the opera singer's best friend. So there were times where so many of us were just really, really sick. We'd lost our voices, but we still had to perform. So we would have like a stack of Ricola just off stage, suck on it before you go, and then go out. I don't recommend that because you can totally blow out your vocal cords. But having some tea, having some water, just right off camera, having like a Ricola if you start to go, or something just to kind of keep your mouth moist. That is something that's really going to help you when your voice goes. The other thing is getting vocal rest. So if you know that you have a long day of speaking, if you know that there are things that you're going to have to do, make sure you give yourself some vocal rest time before. Have some water or have something, because it's not like, Barry, you saw me yesterday. I'm just like, okay, I need my coffee, and I'm not going to apologize. If you look at Success Labs, like I'll have, and this has become, I've worked this in to becoming my thing, because everybody knows, like, everybody, because I have a mug that is very, like, especially here, people in the United States, it's a conversation piece. So this is some way that people, without knowing that they're connecting with me, are connecting with me. If you look over my shoulder, I have Captain Marvel, I have Grogu. These are paintings that I did and my kid did. These, yeah, my nails are Steelers berry. These are things that are conversation pieces that people can then afterwards in conversation mode. Hey, I saw, was that Captain Marvel that I saw behind you? Yeah. And then now we have something to talk about. Steelers. You had a Steelers mug? Really? Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Pittsburgh. So you see how some of these things, that if you need to have water, it doesn't necessarily have to be nondescript. It can be something that is a conversation piece that will help break the ice down the road later. So I'm going deep into some of my tips and tricks here. So if normally where I have my thing set up over here, I have my Grogu, I have my Deadpool, I have BB-8. Like, so I have certain things set up strategically. And if you notice yourself, a lot of people will sit there and like, they'll do this, and you know that they're looking at what's on your back wall. The other thing that you can do is, again, have a blue screen or a green screen. We just did a Success Labs that I can share with everybody on how to, from the back end, use OBS, StreamYard, a third-party virtual camera, to put in a background, to put in lower thirds. So if you want to have around your box, instead of just saying Ernie Villa at the top, you can have at the bottom, or is it Ernie Villa? Ernie, Ernie Villa. Okay, so I said it right the first time.
Thank you.
So it can say at the bottom, it says Ernie Villa, Ernie at remo.co. So you can have that on your video box. There is one of the guys from APAC where he uses and he has a Remo logo behind him. He has his name with his business card, and it's translated into Japanese, and he has a QR code on it. So he knows his audience, who he's talking to. So he's giving like all this virtual stuff just by using a third party background camera. So, all right, I want to let everybody go. You guys know where to find me. hit me up if there's anything you need, any questions you have. I'm going to keep doing these internal masterclass series, and I'm going to invite you guys to our external masterclasses that I know are hot topics. Our next one is streaming. So Rebecca and I are going to do streaming in Remo, broadcast style and video presentations, because streaming is one of the number one things that I get asked to consult on. And the more that I can spin you guys up, the more confident that you will be. And yeah, Barry, I can judge your skill for the aha slides. So I adore you guys. Thank you so much for coming. And I will see you over in town hall. Again, if there's anything that you guys, give me a thumbs up. Was this helpful? Was this helpful? Awesome. Awesome. If there's anything that you guys have afterwards, please do not hesitate. So thanks, guys. I appreciate you being here. And I'm going to close down this building in just a minute. Let's all jump over to town hall. And it was so great to meet you, Ernie and Jonathan.